As Angela stepped outside to lock up, a loud laughter echoed from across the street. A group of 4 men, tattoos, leather jackets, and cruel smirks, staggered toward her. They were known around the area, a small racist gang that often picked fights just to feel powerful. "Hey sweetheart," one of them sneered, his voice slurred with beer. "What's a pretty thing like you doing alone this late?" Angela ignored them, slipping her keys into her bag. "Hey. I'm talking to you," another shouted, his tone sharp now. They circled her. One stepped closer and smirked. "Don't you walk away when a man's talking to you, girl." The last word dripped with venom. Angela's calm eyes met his. "Move," she said quietly. The man laughed. "Or what? You gonna call the cops?" She sighed, almost sadly. "No. I won't need to." The gang leader reached out to grab her wrist. That was his first mistake. In a blur, Angela twisted his arm, locked it behind his back, and dropped him to the ground with one fluid motion. He screamed as his shoulder popped out of place. The others froze. "What the hell?" one of them stammered. Angela's voice was steady. "Walk away." They didn't. Instead, they rushed her, 3 men charging at once. But Angela moved like lightning. A kick to the knee, an elbow to the throat, a palm strike to the jaw. Each man hit the ground before he knew what happened. Within seconds, all 4 were groaning on the pavement. A police siren wailed nearby. Someone from the cafe next door had called it in. When officers arrived, they found Angela standing calmly beside the fallen gang members. One officer, recognizing her, smiled knowingly. "Everything all right, Captain Morris?" he asked. The gang members' eyes went wide. "See, Captain," one of them croaked. Angela gave a small nod. "Off duty. But some lessons can't wait for uniform hours." The officer chuckled and turned to the gang. "You boys just assaulted Captain Angela Morris's former Special Forces, current Atlanta PD tactical instructor. Congratulations." The gang fell silent, the reality crashing over them like a wave. Later that night, as the men were led away in handcuffs, one muttered, "We didn't know who she was." Angela looked at him with quiet resolve. "Didn't matter who I was. You just shouldn't have done what you did." She turned, the streetlights gleaming off her badge as she walked away, calm, unshaken, and powerful. And from that night on, the story spread through the neighborhood. The gang that thought they could intimidate a lone black woman learned the hard way. Respect isn't demanded by fear. It's earned through strength. The morning after the incident, the Atlanta Police Department was buzzing. Word of what happened outside Maya's Brew had spread like wildfire, not just through the precinct, but across the entire city. Captain Angela Morris sat quietly in her office, sipping her coffee as the sunlight filtered through the blinds. Her expression was unreadable. She didn't like attention, especially not for moments like last night. She had joined the force to serve, not to become a viral headline, but the story was already everywhere. Local reporters camped outside the cafe. Social media was flooded with clips. Someone had recorded the fight on their phone. The caption read, "Gang tries to harass black woman. Finds out she's Special Forces." Millions of views overnight. The city cheered her on, calling her a hero, a symbol of strength and dignity. But not everyone was celebrating. Deep in the shadows of the city, another man watched the footage from his cracked phone screen. Trent Lawson, older brother of the gang leader Angela had put in the hospital. A known drug runner, ruthless and calculating. He wasn't laughing. "She humiliated my brother," he muttered, slamming his fist on the table. "We'll see how tough she really is." 3 nights later, Angela was driving home from the precinct. The streets were quiet, almost too quiet. Her instincts flared. In the rearview mirror, she caught a glimpse of headlights. The same car had been tailing her since she left the station. "Amateurs," she murmured. She took a sudden turn into an empty industrial district, dark, silent, abandoned. She parked the car and waited. Moments later, a black SUV rolled in. 5 men stepped out, all armed, faces covered. Trent stepped forward, grinning. "Evening, Captain. Remember me?" Angela's calm eyes met his. "You must be the brother. I was wondering when you'd show." Trent laughed. "You think you can embarrass my family and just walk away? Nah. You're done." He raised his gun. In one heartbeat, the air shifted. A bright flash. Angela dropped low, rolled behind her car, and drew her concealed weapon. Her voice echoed through the lot. "Put the gun down, Trent. You don't want this fight." Trent snarled. "You're outnumbered, lady." Angela smiled faintly. "That's what your brother said." Gunfire erupted. Sparks flew off the concrete as bullets shredded through the silence. But Angela wasn't just any cop, she was trained for chaos. One by one, her shots landed with precision, disabling, never killing. Within 30 seconds, 4 men were down, groaning and disarmed. Trent tried to run, but a warning shot cracked the ground near his feet. Angela stepped out, calm as ever, her badge glinting in the moonlight. "It's over," she said quietly. "You're under arrest." Later, at the station, Trent sat cuffed, fuming. You could have killed me, he hissed. Angela shook her head. Killing you would have been easy. Teaching you something? That's harder. He glared. And what's that supposed to mean? She leaned in slightly. You hate people like me because you're afraid of what you don't understand. But fear doesn't make you strong, Trent. It makes you small. He looked away, silent. For the first time, he had no comeback. Weeks later, the story had faded from the headlines, but its impact remained. Local kids began visiting Maya's brew not just for coffee, but to meet the woman who stood up to hate and walked away stronger. Angela never saw herself as a hero. To her, it was simple. Evil doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes, it walks in daylight, and someone has to stand against it, and if that someone happened to be her, so be it. It had been 3 months since that night in the industrial district. The night Captain Angela Morris single-handedly dismantled Trent Lawson's gang and ended a streak of violent hate crimes across Atlanta. The headlines had long faded. The city was quiet again, but Angela knew better. Quiet streets often hid louder evils. She sat alone in her office late at night, reviewing old files. The evidence from the Lawson case had revealed something strange: encrypted bank transfers, foreign connections, and a name that kept appearing in the shadows: Project Ashfall. It wasn't just a gang anymore. It was a network. Her phone buzzed. The caller ID made her frown. Restricted number. She answered anyway. Captain Morris, a smooth male voice spoke, calm and measured. This is Director Alan Briggs, Homeland Security. We've been reviewing your recent case. You exposed something far larger than you realize. Angela leaned back. I was wondering when someone from DC would call. Project Ashfall, right? A pause. Then a quiet chuckle. Smart as expected. Pack your things, Captain. You're being reassigned. Effective immediately. She frowned. Reassigned? To where? To a task force that doesn't officially exist. 2 days later, Angela found herself inside a high-security underground facility in Virginia. The doors bore no insignia. No nameplates. Inside, 5 individuals stood waiting, each from different agencies: NSA, CIA, FBI, and Delta Force. Briggs stepped forward. Welcome to Shadow Division. You're here because of what you uncovered. Project Ashfall isn't just a racist network, it's part of a larger operation designed to destabilize communities across the country. Funded, organized, and armed by someone offshore. Angela crossed her arms. So, we're hunting ghosts? Not ghosts, Briggs said. Architects. The first target was a man named Victor Hanley, a corporate lobbyist by day, arms trafficker by night. He'd been secretly funding extremist groups through shell companies, spreading chaos for profit. Angela's team tracked him to a private estate outside Houston. That night, the operation began. Rain poured heavily as Angela led the infiltration. She moved silently through the shadows, every step calculated, every motion trained. Her partner, a former CIA hacker named Reed Torres, whispered through comms, security cameras down. You're clear. Angela slipped through a side entrance, neutralized 2 guards, and advanced toward the control room. Inside, she found Hanley, calm, sipping wine, as if expecting her. I was wondering when you'd show, he said, turning around. The famous Captain Morris. You've been causing quite a stir. Angela's jaw tightened. You're under arrest, Hanley. Hanley smiled. You think this ends with me? Project Ashfall was just the beginning. He pressed a button on his desk. A hidden wall panel opened, revealing monitors filled with live feeds from cities all across the U.S. Each marked with red signals. I see those dots? Hanley whispered. Those are active cells. Thousands of them. You can't stop what's already begun. Angela lunged forward, but before she could reach him, the room exploded into chaos. Smoke, alarms, fire, and Hanley was gone. Back at headquarters, Angela stood over a holographic map displaying the same red dots Hanley had shown her. Briggs spoke quietly. He wasn't bluffing. Ashfall is a national network. They've infiltrated everything: law enforcement, media, politics. You uncovered the tip of the iceberg. Angela's eyes hardened. Then we dig deeper. We burn it down from the inside. Briggs nodded slowly. From this moment on, Captain, you're no longer Atlanta PD. You're Shadow Division Operative Morris. Weeks later, Angela returned to Atlanta one last time, visiting Maya's brew, her old café. The city seemed peaceful again, unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. As she sipped her coffee, her phone buzzed with a coded message: Target, Priority 1. Operation ignites at midnight. Angela stood, adjusted her jacket, and whispered to herself, they thought they could scare me once. Let's see how they handle me now. Then she walked out into the night, calm, confident, and ready for war. Rain pounded against the windows of the Shadow Division Command Center. The storm outside matched the chaos brewing within. Monitors flickered, encrypted files scrolled across the screens, and Angela Morris stood at the center of it all, focused, composed, and ready. It had been months since she'd joined the secret task force. They had dismantled over a dozen Project Ashfall cells across the country, but the true leader, the architect, still hid in the shadows, until now. At 2:17 a.m., Angela's phone buzzed with a secure message from Reed Torres, the team's hacker. "We found him. Codename, Sovereign." Angela's eyes narrowed. "Where?" Reed turned one of the screens toward her. "Coordinates lead to Raventon, an abandoned military complex outside Denver. Guess who owns the land?" Angela frowned. "Who?" "Victor Hanley. The same man who had escaped months ago. The man who had taunted her with the promise of chaos. Angela's jaw set. "Then we finish it tonight." By nightfall, the Shadow Division moved in silence. A 5-person strike team, equipped with stealth tech and reinforced armor. Their mission, infiltrate, capture Hanley, and recover whatever data he had on Project Ashfall. The facility loomed before them, massive, cold, and half buried in snow. Floodlights swept across the perimeter. Reed whispered through comms, multiple guards. Heat signatures show about 20 hostiles inside. Automated turrets on the north wall. Angela nodded. "We go in from the south. No mistakes. We end this tonight." The team advanced shadows in the snow. Inside the main control room, Victor Hanley waited, surrounded by armed mercenaries and glowing monitors. He wore a tailored black suit, his demeanor calm as ever. When Angela burst in, weapons ready, he smiled faintly. "Captain Morris. I was wondering when my favorite soldier would return." Angela kept her gun steady. "You're finished, Hanley. Drop it." He chuckled softly. "Finished? No, Captain. I've already won." He pressed a button, and the monitors behind him came alive, streaming live feeds of riots erupting in several cities. Groups carrying the same Ashfall insignia she'd seen before. "Chaos," he said calmly, "is the most profitable business on Earth." Angela stepped closer. "You call this profit? You're destroying lives." Hanley's smirk faded. "People destroy themselves. I just give them the means." Gunfire erupted as Hanley's men opened fire. Angela dove behind a steel console, returning precise shots. Her team moved in flawless coordination. Reed shutting down drones, Harper and Diaz covering the flanks. One by one, Hanley's guards fell. Smoke filled the air. Sparks flew from shattered screens. Angela advanced, striking hard and fast until finally, she cornered Hanley near the emergency exit. "You don't understand," he growled, drawing a hidden pistol. "There's someone above me, someone even I answer to." Angela didn't flinch. "Then I'll find them too." Hanley aimed, but Angela was faster. One clean shot to his shoulder sent the gun spinning away. He fell to his knees, clutching the wound. "You think this ends here?" he spat. "You're already in their system." Before Angela could respond, a deep rumble shook the entire complex. Reed's voice blared through comms. "Angela." He triggered a failsafe. "The whole base is rigged to blow." The team sprinted through the corridors as alarms screamed. Fire erupted behind them, metal twisted and collapsed, the snow outside glowing red with flame. Angela reached the exit first, dragging Hanley with her. She wasn't leaving without answers. They burst out into the freezing night just as the facility exploded in a thunderous blast. The shockwave threw them both into the snow. Angela groaned, pushing herself up. Hanley was unconscious beside her. Helicopters circled overhead. Shadow Division backup arrived, pulling her to safety. Hours later, at headquarters, Angela stood over a digital display of Hanley's recovered data. Her hands clenched as Reed decrypted the final layer of files. The screen appeared a single logo, a stylized serpent wrapped around a globe. Reed's face went pale. "Oh my God, this isn't just an American network. It's international. Europe, Asia, Africa, every continent." Angela stared at the screen, her mind racing. "So Ashfall," she said slowly, "was just the first chapter." Reed nodded grimly. "And the name of the next one is Project Hydra." Later, alone on the rooftop, Angela looked out over the city lights. The night was quiet again, but she knew peace was an illusion. She whispered to herself, "They thought this was over. They were wrong." Her phone buzzed once more, a coded message from Briggs. "Briefing, 0600 hours. Global threat confirmed." Angela slid the phone into her pocket, eyes cold and determined. The war was far from over. It was only just beginning.